Bitcoin trading at 96K, but it's been a weekend of altcoins. We've had lots of pumps on these alts, but now we've had a little bit of a retracement. Are we going to get a short-term bounce now on some of these things? So today we're talking about my plan with BTC. Are we going to hit 100K? Are we going to go higher? So I'm going to take you through my thoughts on that. I've also got DJ and Dave in the house. He's our special guest. We're going to look at some banging setups with him as well. There's so much to talk about here on a Sunday. Let's get right into it. And remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. And if you're wondering where I am, well, I'm normally on Banter Plus. Today, you can see me on the main channel. So you can catch me Monday to Friday on Banter Plus. And don't forget, we've also started the new channel, Crypto Live, where you need to be subscribed to that one as well if you want notifications as to when we go live on that one. Okay, here is Rainbow Ray is in the house. We thought we'd bring the rainbow out. Welcome. We brought the rainbow out for the main channel. And then we got DJ and Dave in the house. Morning for him. Well, yeah, I think he had a late night, but he's been watching these charts till 3 a.m. So he's ready to go. He's got a couple of bangers. So today we're going to update a lot of the trades from last week, the setups that we were watching. For those of you that missed it, well, it's okay. You missed last week's setup. Don't forget, the setups that I give you today could be playing out tomorrow or the next day. So there's going to be loads of time for you to get involved in some of the trades. But we are short-term looking for a bounce at the moment. And I'm sitting in a couple of setups. So we're going to give you a couple of positions right now that you can maybe start playing around with. And yeah, do you guys like my shirt here? My rinsed shirt. Like, hopefully we're not going to get too rinsed. And I can tell you what, the people who got rinsed, anyone that was shorting sand, oh my God, look at this thing. 38%. The old Dino gaming coins have woken up. Look at this. Decentraland, Mana, 16% up. Sand is 38% up. Axie Infinity, one of the biggest gaming shit coins in history. That thing is up as well. Do people still play that thing? And then I don't have much to say about Celestia, but yeah, it's going again. Now this is Ray's nemesis, the Celestia, but we're going to deal with it. We're going to deal with it at some point. Okay, so as you can see now, we've had an interesting weekend. A lot of these alts were pumping. Phantom was ripping. AVAX was ripping. Filecoin, guys, that Filecoin trade from Friday, absolute banger. We've had some big moves now and a nice little pullback. So I think we've got a couple of setups brewing for you guys in the next interim, say in the next 12 hours. We got something happening here for you. So here is BTC that I'm tracking now on the 1 hour time frame, and you can see this weekend it hasn't been much about BTC other than a slow bleed down. We are now in a major region of interest. 95,500 for me. This is a hot zone for me. Look at this little VWAP here sitting just underneath this region as well. So 95,500 down to about 95,100. Looks like an interesting zone here. If we can get a wick into that area, we could get a bounce. We also have confluence here. We've got this trend in play, so offering us a little bit of support as well. Then if we have to look a little bit lower, 95,200 looks pretty spicy to me. That is our rising trend in play. We've got our horizontals, we've got our 0.5, and I've also got my 50 MA on the 4 hour, bringing up some support here at 94,200. So that's a banger for me. And then the last banger, okay, we can't go lower than this. I refuse. 93K, okay, 92,980. Don't want to see less than that leading into tomorrow. I'm going to be sleeping if they do come and start ending us, but that is what I'm going to be watching. And these are the levels I suggest for the next, say, 12 hours. These are going to come into play for us if we do get some weakness and looking for some kind of reaction off these zones. Now, there are possibilities of a couple of curveballs along the way. The first one being this situation. Okay, so Frank says, who the fuck is buying sand? Frank, I don't know, but let me tell you a story about the sand. Okay, there was some story floating around not too long ago that sand raised a whole ton of money, but then it turned out they had something like 20 active users or something ridiculous like that. So very good question. For me, the people that are buying sand are the guys that were around in the 21 bull market. Then they got absolutely rinsed. Now they're buying back their old tokens that they have again. They're pumping their old bags. They probably think it's still a viable situation. So that is what they're cooking on at the moment. But guys, look out for this, okay? I mean, we see these news reports all the time, but these are the types of things that give us these short-term pullbacks in the market. So this stuff is floating around. It's not going away at the moment. And then most importantly, I mean, we touched on the Germans again last week. Now, for those of you that missed a lot of the last 6 months, okay, for those of you that disappeared, all the new people that are now back, we had so much drama 6 to 12 months ago. We had the Germans selling their BTC. They were absolutely wrecking the chart. They sold so much BTC, and it's actually become an absolute joke now because they sold their 50,000 BTC, and what did they sell it for? 50K.
They don't get to see the other side of the rainbow. That's what happened to them.
But they sold it for like 50K or something ridiculous. I mean, there's nothing to be said, but it's a good story. And then our fear and greed index. Now, this thing was sitting at 94 on Friday. It was at extreme danger levels. Now we've had a proper reversal here. This thing is now sitting back at 80. So a little bit more manageable here, and maybe giving us indication that we could have a little bit more action out of BTC. We could get some kind of bounce here at these types of levels. And then a little bit of news floating around. This is Senator Ted Cruz talking about Texas getting stuck in. He wants it to be the oasis for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general. You can follow Cointelegraph here. They got the whole interview here, but that's some bullish stuff coming out of there. And then I love this thing. Peter Schiff, okay? Here's the question, okay? Peter Schiff in 2019 says, keep dreaming. Bitcoin is never going to hit 100K. Here's the question. Is it? Because was that the top on Friday, Ray? I mean, was that the top, the 99K? Dave?
Possibly.
Is the man right? Maybe. Okay. Maybe. But interesting. I mean, interesting point, because we didn't quite hit it. Okay. Now, Fred Kruger, I mean, this will come in nicely if we do start blowing through 100K. But right now, the man is not wrong. And then on Friday, we looked at this tweet from James van Straten, also just talking about people will see profit taking at 100K and most likely a correction. Now, this is the problem. When everybody all over the place starts expecting the same thing, how often does it not play out? So I've been running a poll here for you guys. I just want to see what you guys are thinking at the moment. And we've got 738 votes. So jump into the chats there for me. And I see A of 9 says that ain't the damn top. Okay, so jump into the chats here and vote here. We've said, what happens at 100K? Are we shorting 100K or are we going higher first? I just want to see the actual sentiment here. So let's get some more votes in. We got 750 at the moment. Keep them coming. Ray, will you just keep your eyes on that poll there for us? And I want to just see what the general sentiment is out there. But my concern is that everybody now is jumping on the bandwagon that BTC must correct from here. So, you know, for me, I start thinking, well, if everybody is not jumping on the bandwagon, everyone is trying to short now, does this tee us up for a possible short squeeze? Does this tee us up for another push through 100K before they come and end us? So that is something we need to start thinking about at the moment. And here is our BTC chart on the 3-day. And you can see, I think we all agree at some point we are going to get a major correction on BTC. But, you know, when does that happen? Right now, you can see our 2618 target is still 113K, 113,900. That is still on the table for me. I don't see why we can't potentially go there first before rejecting. And then on the way down, we know that we've got a major weekly level here. This is our previous all-time high for BTC. Why wouldn't this get tested at some point before they kick on? And if this was a 15-minute chart that we were watching and we were trading an absolute shitcoin here, watching a 15-minute chart, we'd be saying, guys, this is where you're getting your buys. This is where we're getting a bullish send out of BTC. So look out for this type of level, 72,500 for me. That's a big zone. That is a massive bullish line there for us. But how do we get there? We'll have lots of time. I don't think we're going to get there in a straight line. If we do get some kind of pullback here in the market, it's most likely going to look something like this, a little bit choppy all the way down before they send it. But can you imagine how bearish people are going to be feeling when we dip into that region? I see Laurie is sending us to 114. Laurie, I like that. I like that. I like that spirit. I like this. And let's see. Robin says 100K was already anticipated, so they sold before. Guys, let me know. Let me know in the chats here. Are we going to squeeze higher? Is there going to be a short squeeze? What are you guys thinking? Let's see what's happening here in the chat. Zuvuya says, leave the stragglers behind. I like Laurie's view about 114. And let's see who Kevin was saying higher to 102, take out liquidity and down. Now, guys, Kevin, I agreed with that view last week. Okay, you can see I haven't changed this yet, and I'm suspecting I need to actually remove these sell limit orders because everybody now is jumping on this bandwagon. But this was my plan last week. I wanted to get about a 1 BTC short here on Prime XBT. So I stacked up tons of limit sell orders, and my exit plan was anything above 102 to about 102,700. So I was looking on Friday, I was looking for this hard push here into that zone, then a massive sell-off. So I must say, I do agree. I do agree with Kevin's view, but I think now we might potentially squeeze even higher now that everybody is jumping on the bandwagon. Ray, what are you seeing out here? And Dave, what are you seeing out here?
Yeah, I think most people want to short 100K. It's very psychological number, but I think the whale's got a trick up their sleeve, and I want to be on the whale side. So
it's almost Ray. It's almost too easy, isn't it? Why would they let BTC float there and then fall over?
Personally, I think people were profit taking. These weren't shorters opening up. I think it's just more profit takers than open shorts. So that's why I think we smash through 100 the next time we get close.
I agree.
Because the shorters will come down.
There's a lot of squeeze comments here. So yeah, I mean, I suspect if we blow through 100 here, I suspect we go a lot higher than 102K. I really do. I mean, at this type of, at this stage of the game. Okay, so here we are. This is the current 𝗪𝗥 situation. So I'm still sitting in my ETH position that I started. And those of you that were watching last week, I closed half my BTC long. And maybe, you know, maybe to my detriment. Maybe I should have held that one longer, but, you know, it was a good number for me. Let's see. Maybe there is a bit more in the tank on BTC, but this is where I am on 𝗪𝗥. I'm trying to build an ETH situation now. So any pullbacks here for me on ETH, that is what I'm going to start trying to build. That is what I'm going to start trying to grow. Let's just take a look at where we are with liquidity. This is our liquidation heat map on the 24-hour. I love to follow this for short-term moves. And if we take a look to the downside, 95K, interesting zone for us to the downside. And then upside, look at this, 99,371 up to about 100,000. 300. Okay, so there's a lot to the upside here. They've taken out a ton to the downside. So I'd love to see this 95K region. That actually takes us to the VWAP, pretty much on the button here. So I just want to mark this one for you guys again. 95K ties in very nicely with that liquidation heat map. So that is something to watch. And then dominance, this is an interesting one. So I see Old Man Running likes a bit of dip action here, but look at dominance. This is dominance now on the 4-hour. And you would have noticed this weekend. Look at that beautiful move for the altcoins. Then that little rejection, the altcoins got sweated out of it. Now dominance falling over again in a bit of a bearish pattern. So that is pretty good for the altcoin traders at the moment. And just looking for dominance to continue pushing lower. That's obviously going to help our bags. And then remember, ETH BTC on the monthly, we are in two very interesting areas here. The first zone was our trend reaction, our trend bounce. That for me tells us that we are getting close to the bottom of ETH versus BTC. Maybe there's time for one more push on this guy to this major monthly level over here, but a nice start. We've bounced off this trend. What I'm looking for here is that type of move on ETH versus BTC. So the big level for me is still going to be 29 to 28, that type of region, but nice to see a little reaction off this trend for now, just telling us maybe it's time to start paying attention. And we saw last week with the moves from things like Arbitrum, things from Optimism, Lido, we had 𝗙𝗙𝗘, we had Matic even waking up, all those pumpers on the ETH ecosystem. So it is time for some action. I know Dave was trading, what did you catch there? What was that banger? You got Optimism.
Yeah, OP landed the heck out of that one, and this weekend landed a pretty good core setup I've been talking about forever. And Ethereum Classic had a nice little rip, but we're getting a lot of good, a lot of good tokens coming back into some zones here.
Okay, so guys, what we're going to do is we've got some setups with zones incoming. I've got updates from last week. I've got some absolute bangers. You're going to see some of the charts here that these things bounced off some major hot zones already today, but we've got more for you to the downside if we do start pushing a little bit lower. So get ready because we got some action coming for you. Let's just cover ETH quickly. And this is ETH on the daily for us at the moment. And you can see there's a couple of bearish signs for ETH at the moment. And you're going to see this on a lot of your altcoins. You can see our daily oscillators are heavily overbought at the moment. You can see the last time we had heavily overbought on the daily, we could see that ETH started drifting lower. Now we've got this MDX Wave Master also getting a little bit overbought here, but not saying that we can't ride at the top a little bit longer. So this is just something to take note of, that things are getting a little bit overcooked here as far as the oscillators are concerned. You can see we had another situation here. When was this? This was in March. Look at that. That oscillator stayed on the top for a very long time while there was a gradual move to the downside. So just something to pay attention to. The oscillator is hot. And then what we do have is a current double top situation on ETH. And we really need to start holding some support above the 3,400 zone. So like I was saying last week, there's two add-on trades for me on ETH at the moment. The first one is going to be pullbacks to 3,000, pullbacks to 2,780. That is where we add on those two zones. Alternatively, if this market rips now, looking for a hard push on ETH, most likely a rejection, and then we're going to be looking at buys to add onto that position of mine at 3,400. So that game plan for me has not changed. There's no new trade here. I'm looking for higher and a retest, or I'm looking for lower to start building that nice ETH conviction play. Now remember, the theory behind this is Bitcoin has run hard. ETH BTC is getting close to bottoming out, and that is why I'm looking to now rotate some of that capital into ETH, maybe some ETH ecosystem and some other altcoin plays. Okay, Dave, what setups do you have for us today? You got stacks?
Yes, I've got stacks for you guys. There's a lot out there, but I think stacks is definitely a high conviction trade setup.
Head of likes, you know what to do. Okay, Dave's going to bring you a stacks banger. Okay, he's probably got one or two others up his sleeve. Ray knows what to do. Make Ray happy, Rainbow Ray. I'm going to crack on with some of my setups here. There you go. There you go. There you go. Remember, guys, hit the like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. You know what to do, and you can find us Monday to Friday on Banter Plus. Okay, here's my current trade situation, and we can see there was a nice sell-off earlier today. For those of you that were paying attention to your apps, you probably got a little bit rinsed on some of your altcoins, but we've had quite a strong bounce. It's particularly something like Phantom here, and I was a bit of a late grabber now on Phantom for round 2. Now this thing has broken through a bit of horizontal. Then you can see I've opened a Peppy long not too long ago, about 45 minutes ago. I've got a SHIB long again 45 minutes ago, got stopped out in a wick there. Then I'm still short Brett, and I'm still long Brett. That has been a long trade that I've been sitting in there for the last probably 4 weeks. And then what else do we have here? I've got bonk short that I opened on Friday. I've got the bonk chart ready for you guys. That thing was looking pretty bearish on Friday, so that was teeing up for a short. Myro, I've just hit a long now on Myro on a limit order. So my Myro short from Friday, that closed at my limit buy zone, and that thing is now bought. So I'm sitting in a Myro long. Then AVAX, absolutely cooking. There's news on AVAX. I've got the AVAX chart for you guys coming. And then I've got my AVAX head short running now as well, just in case the market falls over. Then a newly opened near position 2, and then Sol, the old dog. Okay, I've been in this Sol position for forever. Okay, and I mean, this thing now, my average entry is now 170, and this thing's cooking. Okay, so no reason to close this one yet. And I've got the Sol chart for you guys too. So let's dive in right now to the Sol chart and just see what is going on in the lower time frame. Now, anybody trading Sol, you know my big levels are 200 and 190. Those are my major levels. But what do you do in between if you are a degen, if you are looking for scalps, if you are looking for setups? Well, you need to dial in to 1 hour time frames. If you want to take degen trading and leverage trading seriously, you need to dial in and lock in a couple of hot zones here. And you can see Sol has dropped into our first hot zone here, 243. So this is going to be your support that you want to use today. 243, nice little reaction zone. I've got VWAP here, I've got 618, I've got horizontals, and that makes perfect sense. So when it dipped into the zone, it gave us a nice little reaction. So now what do we look out for on Sol? Well, we got to be a little bit cautious now on any pumps, because we do have a bit of a war zone in the way now. So we could be teeing up for Sol in a little bit of a downtrend now. So I would say look out on Solana, any pumps into 254, 255, look out for a possible rejection there. And then we most likely visiting somewhere around 235, that type of region. So this is teeing up for potentially bearish scenario here. How do you invalidate that bearish scenario? Very simply, Sol needs to break hard. It needs to break 252 well, and then it needs to come back and treat this zone, the 252 zone, as support. That should be a nice zone then to get extra buys in on Sol, and then you can send that. So very simple degen game plan here on Sol. Look out for rejections at 252. You can see why that is a rejection zone. You can see why that is a danger zone and a possible TP zone for any scalpers. Look for that rejection. If Sol blows through that zone, you most likely get that rejection at the horizontal. Then you are playing 252. You can look for longs on that retest of 252. So keep it pretty simple here. And this is the 1 hour that we're watching. These are degen vibes that we are playing right now. And then if the market really starts falling over, I just want to identify this lower band for you. And this is 230. Okay, so degen levels, 230. I would expect that one to hold as well, especially considering the Sol strength of late. 230 for me looks like a nice bounce zone. So if the market starts falling over here, and let's say we melt down, looking for a solid bounce off that region, 230 should give you a nice long, at least a scalp situation there. That might not be the bottom of the move. They might send it lower, but that is where you're going to get some kind of reaction there on Sol. Now, let's talk Bonk. And Bonk, just a brief sort of overview as where we were. I was in Sniper Club on Friday, and we were looking at a Bonk short as a hedge play because we had a head and shoulders on the 4 hour. It was looking a little bit bearish, so started laddering into a Bonk short. And you can see now we've lost this rising trend. That was a beautiful trend for us, but we lost it. Look what happened here. Lost the trend, retest, dump. Okay, and that is a typical bearish altcoin setup there. So now we got our eyes on Bonk. Where can Bonk go? What is the game plan now for Bonk? So you can see what's going on here. We are trying to break back into our horizontal support band. If we can break back into this type of region and get support, there could be a short-term long on Bonk. That could probably take you to the 54 type zone, but I would be extra cautious up there at that 54 level. Any Bonk traders, careful at 54. And then downside, where would I like to TP? So I'm going to leave this Bonk short open. Okay, no reason for me to close this one yet. There's no rush to close this thing. If the market does start falling over, my targets for the Bonk short, 396 and 3435. Now, that is where I expect quite a nice, strong bounce. So if we do get a meltdown today, look at 3435, even call it 344, that type of level there. That should give you a nice Bonk long play as well. So set your alarms in that zone. Right now, I'm not expecting too much at the moment unless we get absolute fireworks here. Right now, looking for something along these lines on Bonk. Okay, that would be my ideal situation there. But short-term bounce here on the cards. Okay, short-term bounce is definitely on the table here for us at the moment for Bonk. Okay, let's go. Let's look at Optimism. So nice little update yesterday of Friday's trade. Now, Optimism was one of our ETH plays. Now, remember, we had ETH Strength, then we looked at Optimism, Arbitrum, we looked at ETH5, we looked at Matic, and we've got tons of updates on these tokens for you. So just to recap where we are with Optimism, it bangs straight into our major horizontal resistance on the daily. So right now you've got major resistance for Optimism at 2.3. That is a hot zone. Okay, that is a danger zone there for you for Optimism. Then on the higher time frame levels, big zones for me, 1.95 down to about 1.80. That sort of box over there looks like great support for us. Okay, and here goes Optimism now on the 1 hour. So what we like to do, for those of you that are new and you want to understand what I do, I like to look at the higher time frames. I look at dailies, I look at weeklies. I try and see where we are in the macro context, trying to understand where this token is on the higher time frames. Then we dial in and we look for where these degens can get their entries, where can they get their hot zones, where is all the action. And you can see Optimism just reacting on a beautiful little hot zone here for us. Very interesting and nice little move for us so far on Optimism. So if you are trading Optimism now, this is the 1 hour chart. Your big support zones that you want to be watching, 2.06. And then I've got this banger here, 2.01. These are your banger supports now that you want to be watching. Optimism, 2.06, 2.01. Those are your main supports. And then lower down, I've got a nice degen zone here for you, 1.88. 1.88 is where it's at for me. If there is a second sell-off now in the market, that for me is a long zone. That's a nice, juicy long zone there for us. 1.86 is a hot zone there for me. So mark that one on your charts. Remember, what you're seeing now could be a short-term pump. Okay, just be careful up here. Could be a short-term pump. Then maybe we start making our way lower down. So that is a potential scenario we need to understand that could be playing out here for us. So potential short-term pump here, then maybe a little bit of downside. And how do we fight this if this thing starts turning super bullish? How do we trade this thing if we've missed this entry now? Well, now you need to just wait a little bit. You can see this is our major weekly resistance. So we know this is a deadly zone here. But what does this tell us? This tells us if we blow through this region, we should have a long trade brewing here for us to send this one higher. I'm going to go back to the daily. Look at this daily. Look at that major resistance zone. If we pop that major, what does that tell us? 2.56 becomes a target. 3.02 becomes a target. Okay, so let's do the work. Let's get through that major zone. Then we can start turning bullish again. So anybody who's missed this move of this area, if you are jumping into Optimism now, what is your risk? If you jump into it now, your risk is 6%. Okay, that's quite a lot if you're using leverage. That is why I'm super greedy with my entries. We try and hunt down these hot zones as often as possible and really try and snag these absolute banger hot zones for us. We get greedy with these entries if we are trading leverage. Now, remember, wait for it to break this major weekly level. Then you can get bullish again. Alternatively, you're using 2.06 down to 2.01 as support. And then I've got a hot trade zone. If the market falls over, put your alarm on down here. 1.886. 1.887, set your alarms there. That is a banger zone for me. That is where I think we get a nice high conviction long out of optimism. Okay, so you've got the game plan there. That's looking pretty decent for us. And then Arbitrum, same game plan. Now, we touched on this one on Friday, and this is a great update because we had a beautiful pump of Arbitrum. I was trading that one on Bitfunded, had a nice long, closed that one, and a decent profit there. Now we've had a retracement. Let's take a look. So just to see where we are with Arbitrum on the weekly, you can see major level here. What are we trying to unlock? We are trying to unlock our trade to 1.26. So we're trying to say there's a potential move here of 60% coming for Arbitrum. How do we get there? Well, we normally get there by getting our ticket at some kind of breakout or some kind of degen play at this type of zone, and then we get to send it higher. So how do we do that? We dial in again and we start looking for some Arbitrum hot zones. Now, you will note this Arbitrum looks very much similar to the optimism chart. Okay, we've had a little bit of a pullback. Now we've got a short-term bounce, but there are juicier zones lower down. So if you are in an Arbitrum position right now, your support that you can use, look at this VWAP, beautiful. Your support that you can use, 0.796, use that right now, okay, 0.796. High conviction trade for me, it's a multi-entry trade. If we get a meltdown in the market here, I'm buying 75, I'm buying 704. These are the zones. I want to buy here, I want to buy there. I'm looking for a bigger push out of Arbitrum. You can see why we've got a nice rising trend there as well. As long as we're holding that trend, we can remain bullish. And then we've got lots of hot zones here. We've got a 618 horizontal and a VWAP at 75. And then I've got the 200-day MA, absolute banger. 200-day MA, I've got the rising trend, I've got the horizontals at 705. So for me, two zones that you can start buying Arbitrum, looking for that long, and then very simple game plan. If we start losing this rising trend, that is when we need to start cutting this thing, because then we most likely start looking at levels lower down, okay, a lot lower down. I'm talking 65, I'm talking 56, those types of levels. So right now, watching 75 and 705, those are zones for me where I'm super interested in getting into some more Arbitrum, and we want to catch that ride. We want to catch that 60% trade. Now, if you're looking at this chart at the moment and you're saying, well, have I missed the boat? Is it too late to enter? Well, again, just calculate your risk and calculate what is in front of you. Where is your danger zone ahead? So you can see right now you've got resistance ahead of you there in that box. So that is a danger zone at 9.1. Okay, that is a danger area for you. So until we break that high, exactly like optimism, you're looking for something along those lines. Okay, so we really need to fire up now, break that high, get a retest, then push on again. That takes us to that 60% trade that we are looking at right now. Support just under that VWAP. There is interim support. What is the risk if you're jumping in this thing now? What is your absolute risk? 4% at the moment. Okay, so remember, leverage traders, just be careful. There's 4% risk here, and if this thing rolls over, that is what you could be faced with before it gives you some kind of interim bounce there on Arbitrum. Okay, so Arbitrum tick, optimism tick, let's go. Matic, this thing was an absolute beast. Okay, now I missed this Matic trade. I got File, I got Arbitrum, I got some optimism, and I missed the Matic trade that I gave you guys on Friday. And I think Matic was one of the better performers. This chart looks identical to some of the others. Arbitrum, optimism as well. You can see we're trying to break into our major weekly zone. Exactly the same story here. On this time frame, we can see 67 is our target and 907 is our Matic target. But how do we get there? Again, we dialing in. Same story. Now, I've got some absolute banger hot zones for you on Matic. Now, this isn't a high confidence zone where it is right now. I don't have any tie-in for you, but I do have a long zone that I'm interested in, that I want to take a long on Matic. And for me, that is going to be at 0.45. Okay, that is going to be my hot zone there for me on Matic, 0.45. So I'm watching this zone pretty closely there. Let's put our alarms on. I don't want to miss it this time, so I'm going to just put my alarm on. You can hit the plus sign on the right-hand side on TradingView. That gives you an alarm. So I've added an alarm here at 4482. If we do ping that zone, that is where I'm looking for my next long. So we could be faced with something like this. Okay, look out for something along these lines, and bang, that would be a nice little trade for us there on Matic. So looking a little bit overcooked here at the moment with where things stand, but you can also see our oscillator on the 4-hour. Also, this is MDX Wave Master we're using. This thing is also looking a little bit tired here. Might want to just turn down for a short term. Okay, so let's see how that one plays out. Now, remember, I spoke to you about Bitfunded last week, and for those of you that don't know, Bitfunded is prop funded. So what these guys do is they give you a demo account. You buy a demo account from them. The entry account, $79. The $10,000 account is $100. You get bigger accounts, obviously. And what you do is you get a demo account. They give you a demo account. You trade 8%. You make 5%. Then they give you real money. And then you can keep 80 to 90% of the profits. Okay, so simple thing you can do with Bitfunded. Here you go. You can see I've got 2 challenges open at the moment. And this is what the 2 trades that I've taken now today. Okay, the one was 𝗙𝗙, jumped into that. It's an ETH narrative play, and Link. Now, I've got both these charts for you. Link was off a hot zone, and 𝗙𝗙 also in a nice area for us. So I'm going to go through both of these charts for you here, and just trying to make a small gain here on Bitfunded, bank some profits, then grab another one tomorrow and see if we can close out some of these demo accounts. So here we go. Here's 𝗙𝗙 at the moment. And this thing is pushing on. This thing is looking super bullish. So we looked at this chart on Friday. It was sitting around about that region. And that was our lows at 1.85, give or take. Now we are pushing into our first target, which is 2.25. And then we've got 2.47. So these are our upside targets for 𝗙𝗙. But then once we break that, anything can happen. Look at this. Look at this chart here. Look at these targets up there. So if there's some bullish momentum here, I suspect this thing can run to about 5.2. give or take. So this is something you need on your watch list. Okay, there's another 150% on this 𝗙𝗙. You need this thing on your watch list, but you need to be cautious. We need to break certain levels here, and there'll be multiple trades in this move or in this 150% move. If you're a degen, if you're a spot buyer, well, there could be one trade for you. Okay, there could be a nice move coming. But what I want to show you guys is here's the degen chart for us. And this is what's telling us there could be a short-term move to the upside. This is the 1-hour chart that I'm watching. And you can see I'm using MDX Wave Master here at the bottom. Look at that little reset there on the 1 hour, looking bullish there, looking for a push up now and some kind of move to the upside on the 1 hour. And just to recap where we are on 𝗙𝗙, very simple game plan here. All I did was grab my fibs from the lows to the highs. I found my VWAP and I found my horizontals, and look at this hot zone. Look how this 𝗙𝗙 dropped on that dump earlier today. Bang, into that hot zone 1.9, and look at the absolute rocket off this area. That is why these zones are so important to me for these altcoins. So now what do we do with 𝗙𝗙 if you've missed that move? Well, same as the optimism chart. We're on the verge of some kind of horizontal breakout. So you're going to watch this region over here. Eyes on this zone. So the minute we start getting aggressive in this area, you're going to start looking for a break. And then you're going to be able to use this as support for yourself for potential push higher. Now, there could be quite a big move coming on 𝗙𝗙. So you got to be super careful how you snag your entry. You don't want to be too greedy. You don't want to go too big. You don't want to use too higher leverage. But what I can do for the degens, your main support is to the downside, 1.9. And then your interim support that you can use. But ideally, you want to break this region first. You've got to break the horizontal first. Then you can start using stop loss areas of interest. And that would be 2.05 is going to be an interesting zone for me, and 1.97. But ideally, if you want to trade this thing, you need to see this pop first. This thing has to break the horizontal first. If it pierces this horizontal, then you're going to look for this nice bullish pullback anywhere in that type of zone, and then you want to send that one. So keep your eyes on this. It could happen in the next hour or two. It could break. So look out even on the 15 minutes. Keep your eyes on this thing. If it gets aggressive, yeah, this could be a nice trade. And then your upside targets are going to be 225, and then you're looking at 246. Okay, those are your interim targets, and then anything happens after that. Okay, so 𝗙𝗙, nice little banger here. Let's see if we get some momentum. And then link traders, exactly the same. This is why we took that long off the hot zone. 382 horizontal VWAP, bang. Okay, same story. You saw it on optimism. You saw it on these other tokens. Nice little reaction off these hot zones. So off she goes. And this looks now identical to a lot of these other charts. So what am I seeing now? If we push up here, if we print a lower high, something along these lines for me on Link. Okay, that is what we're looking at the moment. That is what we're faced with now until proven otherwise. How do we change our view on Link? Well, it's got to turn bullish. How do we do that? It's got to break the high. So you can see we've got a nice horizontal here for us on Link. We need to pop through our 16. We need to pop through our 18.3 zone. Let's break through that. Then we look for support at 18.3. Then we have a new trade. Alternatively, if you're sitting in a trade now on Link, 16.2 is your target, is your support. 16.2 is your support. So any pullbacks here, look for that to hold. Alternatively, 15.55 is your next bounce zone. It's your next reaction zone that you're going to be watching. So 16.22 and 15.55. These are your supports that you can use. Let's see. The upside target right now is 18.3. Then you've got 19. If we start breaking this horizontal, then Link looks pretty bullish, and we can start looking at some higher levels. And what we can see is we can just zoom out here on the daily, and you can see immediately your next potential target for Link is then going to be 22.2, give or take that type of region. So baby steps here on Link. Let's just try and get a couple of entries. Let's try and get something moving here for us. And Dave, how are you doing there? Are you ready for us? Are you ready for us?
Always ready.
Okay, I'm going to do Phantom, and then I want Dave and Likes Bouncer, Rainbow Ray. How are we looking there, sir?
They're looking good, sir. They're smashing the
Are we
lights.
looking good? How's everyone in the chats? Who's getting wrecked? Who's getting rinsed? Do you like guys like my rinse shirt? Okay, it's coming soon to a place near you.
I like it.
Coming. I see NZ Danny is in the house here, and Omar wants me to look at some say, and NZ Danny's ready for Dave. Okay, Purvis says XRP bouncing. Guys, XRP, hey, Gary Gensler's done now. So that thing's been an absolute pumper. Let's see, Goat, Popcat, LFGO. Popcat's let me down. Okay, Popcat's been, I'm still trading Popcat. I'm waiting for the big move. Okay, it's let me down a little bit. I see we got some Hemul fans here. Eterna ADA. And King Sock also likes some ADA. And Dylan said, long Peppy, whiff if never heard wrongly. I love whiff and I love Peppy, bro. Okay, we good. I think I've even got, I've got Peppy here for you guys. Yeah, I've got it here. Okay, let's talk Phantom. So for those of you that don't know, okay, Phantom's got an upgrade coming, Sonic. Okay, that is coming around the corner. I think they're changing to S from what I understand. So you've noticed quite a lot of strength in Phantom lately. Look, to be fair, quite a lot of strength in a lot of the own coins, in the old coins. But we know this upgrade is coming to Phantom. It's around the corner. What do we expect? Okay, for me, some kind of pumpage, yes, but then I expect some kind of sell the news situation. So here is Phantom. I just want to update you guys, any Phantom traders out there. And I mean, again, just another beautiful example here. Look at this pullback today. What did we hit? 382 horizontal VWAP, bang. Okay, off 83, absolute rocket now. So what I'm using at the moment, you can see I am in this Phantom trade. Where is it now? Oh God, I must have had look at that. I must have had a short sell. I must have had a limit sell order from ages ago for a Phantom short. Holy shit. Okay. Well, my Phantom shorts just triggered that I didn't even know I had. Okay. So here's Phantom. Here's the Phantom long that I'm in at the moment. Okay. So you can see, and I'm using that wick. I'm using 92 as my current support here on Phantom. So let's open, there it is. 92 is my current stop zone on Phantom. So anybody trading Phantom, if you are sitting in this position, I'm using 92 as my stop zone. Let's zoom out. Let's take a look at some targets. Fuck, that's hilarious that sell order just hit. Okay, yes, that is exactly why I had a sell order there. So I would have placed the sell order probably 3 weeks ago, looking for that Phantom pump. Okay, there it is. And that is why it was a hot zone there for me. So let's just take a look here. Let's see if we got order blocks there. Let's see what we got going on in that zone here. Let's see if we got some fibs here. Let's see what we got in this there we go. Okay, that is why I had that preset sell order there. Okay, so Phantom is actually, that's a banger there. Okay, so Phantom is actually at a resistance band, guys. You can see this horizontal tied in with 786. There was a preset limit sell order that I had there. I don't know when I said it, probably 2 weeks ago. I don't know, but there we go. So it's just opened a short there on Phantom for me. The reason being it is a danger zone. So anybody now sitting in Phantom longs, and you understand we've got the Sonic upgrade coming, and there could be some more upside on Phantom. For me, what is more upside for Phantom? 1.2. Okay, that is our next target. If we blow through this major zone, we're looking at 1.2. How do we get there? Let's dial back in. Let's go back to the 2 hour, and let's just take a look at this chart. And you can see I'm using as support, I'm using 0.92 at the moment as my Phantom support. And if we start blowing that zone, we're looking at 1.2. So there's another 20% coming on Phantom potentially if we can get through this danger zone. Okay, so no changes there then for the upside. Phantom support 92. If we lose that 92, I'm bailing. Okay, I'm jumping out of that long that you can see that I'm sitting in. Okay, Dave, before we do AVAX and Peppy, let's give Dave some action. The man's chomping at the bit here. Let's see what he's got. Let's see what you got. Let me get your chart up here.
All right.
Yeah, there it is.
So I've been eyeing stacks here for the past week. We use an indicator called Easy Algo, and these red lines here, this is called the monthly pivots. The yellow is the weekly pivots. And then these dotted yellow lines are this dotted line here is the potential next week's pivots. Usually when they're tight, there's a springboard effect, but I love the posture of the pivots, first of all. And then higher time frame situation is we have, this is the 8-hour chart, but we have broken trend. We have a lot of cool things coming together here. It's kind of like a synergistic effect for an explosion. And why am I confident in this setup? Well, it's because I was talking about TON for like 2 weeks, right? I kept talking about consolidation. It's trying to break out. It came back inside. We've got anchored VWAPs. We've got 50-day. We've got just a lot of things happening here. Broke trend, retest, bang. So this looks exactly like where Stacks is right now. Okay, so this is kind of a zoomed in version, but basically we've got, same situation, 50-day, 200 anchored VWAPs. We're on the outside of the trend, and it just looks really, really good. Like it's primed here. So there's a situation where I've dropped an anchored VWAP from the lows of the 4th of November, and we tapped it perfectly. And then from the move, from the testing the outside of the trend break to the very top, you can see we had a sniper zone bounce already. And then we have a 786 right here on this potential momentum line. So stacks could go now, right? But if we get a pullback, it could be as low as this, or it could be kind of like right here is what I'm looking for. And there could be that Bitcoin flush situation where we could see some kind of crazy wick, and then we go, right? And I saw that same exact thing with OP. They're always going to try to come out, take out some of the longs that are building, and then send it right after that. But with where Stacks is at, I see a big move to the upside, looking at a 50% move-ish, if you will. And so I've got eyes on that. And, again, it's just tokens like TON are kind of giving us the future of what could happen here. And Stacks is, I'm surprised it hasn't taken off yet. So.
I'm surprised too. I mean, Stacks is a major Bitcoin token to trade. You want to trade Stacks when Bitcoin's bullish. Stacks used to be a great Bitcoin play. So I'm just waiting for this catch up on Stacks. But yeah, I agree, bro. Stacks is a banger. Okay, what else you got there for us? What else you got?
So I've got another potential one here. Is 𝗙𝗡. So we saw on, I think it was like 3 or 4. When was this? Last month. This was a weekend pump, right? And it was about something on their ecosystem that everybody already knew about. So it went live. This is a weekend pump, and obviously no real volume. It had this round trip situation, but it's kind of been consolidating. It's kind of been building, and I was paying attention to a potential breakout. And so higher time frame situation, right? We had this, this is the zoomed out version on the daily, but this is that weekend fake out that I was just showing you guys right here, right? A little bit of a fake out, and there's a lot of room to go here, right? This is a huge horizontal at $6. If we did a fib pull from this higher low to the bottom, we have a sniper zone right around $4.30. So again, I think 𝗙𝗡 has 2x, 3x potential, and I'm kind of foaming at the mouth of I want to get a swing long leverage position on this guy. So this weekend, it broke out, and we're kind of testing the outside of it. And so I went immediately to the pivots, and it's in this bullish posture as well. So we've got monthlies, weeklies, we're above it now. And so the next weekly pivots that are forming are looking pretty tight. So I'm curious to know how those come out when they officially are printed later on here this evening. But 𝗙𝗡 is looking like it's getting ready to gear up here. In the same situation, we've got the 50, we've got anchored VWAPs. the 200 all right below us. And to me, that's a springboard.
Yeah, look, we've seen the old gaming tokens start popping. Let's just show you guys again. We saw Decentraland popping, we saw Sand popping, we saw Axie Infinity popping. Ape can kind of be in that category. And remember, guys, this easy algo, every Sunday they release their new they've released their new weekly pivots. So it happens for me at 2 a.m. my time, but the Americans, what is that? Probably 6 p.m. somewhere around there, I would guess for the Americans. So easy algo, they release their new weekly pivots. Now, what we like to look for on easy algo is those super tight pivots. If we get tight weekly pivots, it often tells us we're going to get an explosive move to the downside or to the upside. So it can't tell us exactly what it's going to do, but we get guided by these pivots. So if we close above the weekly pivots, we quite often get a pump. If we close below, we quite often get some downside. So easy algo is and MDX algo that you guys have seen. Everything is actually sitting in the show description. All these exchanges that I use, all these indicators, everything that I've got here, MDX algo, EasyX algo, they are here in the show description. If you're interested in those things, jump in. Then you've seen I'm trading on Prime XBT. That's no KYC. You can trade CFDs. You can trade the S&P 500. You can trade Forex on Prime XBT. That is in the link as well. Then Bitfunded that I spoke about, the prop funded is there. And then also my other no KYC exchanges, ZoomX and WEEX'S, they are sitting here in the show description for you. There's obviously tons of offers from these exchanges for you guys. If you're interested, jump in there. You want to try a new exchange, all you need really is a VPN in some of the cases, and you can get on there with no KYC on some of those. So that is that. Dave, I'm going to go through AVAX because there's a bit of talk around AVAX again.
Oh yeah.
And then I've got ADA, and I've got CAS, and I've got a Myro update for you guys. So, okay, Avalanche. So Avalanche 9,000 is almost here. Launching an L1 will be more cost effective, easier to customize, blah, 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 blah. Fundamentals, okay? Bullish for AVAX, okay? It's all going down. You can listen to these guys as to what they have to say, but things are cooking there at the moment, and you can see there's been a performance in the chart. It's been an absolute banger, and for those that are been following me, this AVAX trade of mine has really started ripping now. This thing is cooking at the moment. You can see at $17,400 up at the moment. I've taken out a little bit of profit, and I'm in an AVAX head short at the moment. So you can see my current plan is for this trade is to look for the deeper pullbacks, and you can see I've got a limit order waiting to buy more AVAX at 36, and I've got another limit order waiting to buy more AVAX at 33.7. So I'm looking for a move lower down. Ideally, that short that I'm in, that head short, will start paying for the pressure, send me lower down, and I will close that head short at probably around the 33 zone is where I'm going to exit the short, and then I'm looking for a bounce in the market. So what does that look like on the AVAX chart? Well, you can see quite simply here, we've had a nice rejection. Where's that 36 zone? Look at that. 36 zone is a perfect area here on the horizontals and on our major 382 pool. So 36 is a big zone for me. So that's a buy zone there for me on AVAX. And then I've got that 33 zone here in the middle, horizontals. That's going to be our 0.5 fib. So looking for a buy on that area. Now that is 33, give or take. What do we do if the market absolutely shits the bed and falls over? 31. Okay, that's a big zone. Look at this, 50-day MA, horizontal, 618 in play. 31 is your new massive zone for AVAX. So if we do get a meltdown in the market here, let's say Bitcoin starts falling over and there's some war news and things like that, look at that. 25% dip on AVAX. Get your limit orders ready down there. Be prepared when these moves happen. Sometimes they happen super quickly. If there is some kind of flush out, make sure 31 is a zone you have on your radar for any buyers. A sneaky little stink bid order, something like that could get you lucky there if you get a dip, a quick move into that area. So 31 for AVAX, that is a hot zone. Then let's talk ADA. I'm saying it right now that I've had the Cardano girls on my show, and now that it's actually making me money, I start respecting it a bit more. So instead of saying ADA, I'm now calling it ADA. Okay, so ADA, okay, potential short-term reversal coming here according to MDX Wavemaster at the moment. I'm looking at ADA on the 1 hour, and to give you an absolute banger hot zone, unfortunately, it's not where it is right now. Okay, so unfortunately for me, my hot zone is 835. That is where I'll be looking for my next banger ADA trade. Now, I closed that one this weekend after that extreme pumpage, and the next one for me has got to be in this type of zone here. So call it 85 down to about 83. Looks like a banger there for us. So if we do get a little bit of weakness now in the next 12, 24 hours, I mean, that will be a hiding though, 16%. Hey, Ooh, that'll be hot. But yeah, that is a zone that I would be watching there on ADA. Okay, so watch that guy. 86. What is our upside target? At the moment, it's 1.2. So on Friday, I said I was looking for 1.2. We never got 1.2. We got the 1.15 they gave us, unfortunately. Let's just see where we are on the weekly. And for those of you that haven't been around for a while, look at this thing. Okay, look at that. 3. Okay, at the peak, August 21. Now we know there's a lot more bullish news at the moment with regards to ADA. So I am expecting bullish things here, but you can see why 1.2 was our target. That's a big weekly zone there for us. And then our next target, if you're still holding ADA and you believe in higher, your next target, 1.55. Okay, it's a big one. 1.55 looks like a vibe. And I see Max says a strong bounce coming. Then he says exit, then wait. I concur. Okay, a lot of this is lining up. If we get a strong bounce, hey Dave, strong bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, CAS guys. Okay, CAS is pretty much in our bounce zone now. So this is CAS on the 4 hour that I've been tracking, and you can see we've got a rising trend here. CAS traders, I'm sure you've been super disappointed with CAS of late, and you can see what's going on here. It's now dropped into a trend 618 and horizontal band. Let's just highlight this guy there for you. Look at that. Okay, we got nice horizontals, 618 and trend, and you supported by your VWAP. So if you are trading CAS or you're looking for a move on CAS, this is a bullish zone. If it's going to stay bullish, you're looking for a bounce here in this region. So your support is going to be support 145, and your next support is going to be 1422. Okay, so that is your bullish support now for CAS. If it's going to bounce, this is it. This is your rising trend. This is your 618. This is your horizontal, and you've got VWAP support. So 145 down to 1422. That should be your support there. If this zone fails, you know you're going to lose the trend. Then things turn bearish, and then we start hunting lower levels. But right now, there's a possible trade here on CAS. Could be a mover for you. Just understand we have bounced a little bit, so your risk is 4.4%. It's not great. Okay, so this would be a very low leverage play or small position play. 4% is quite big for a leverage trade. So just be careful there, but you can see it's in a potential bounce zone. And when does it turn bearish? Well, if we lose this, if we close under this trend, then things start looking bearish again. Then you get that look on that bonk chart that I showed you. We lose the major trend, then the short really starts playing out. So right now, there could be a little scalp play here on CAS. Your upside target is going to be, target 1 is going to be 162. Your next target is going to be 175. Okay, so CAS traders, there's a potential short-term bounce here for you. And then I want to update you my WEEX'S situation. So I was in a Filecoin from Friday. I mean, absolute fucking banger. That Filecoin, absolute pumper. Closed that one. Okay, that was a banger. Then Myro pumped into major resistance again. So what I did was, because I'm in such a big Myro long position, I opened a Myro short at that major resistance band. So I needed the Myro short to cover the long, because what I want to do is try and build quite a big Myro long position, and I need to be prepared that this Myro can actually go deeper. And I'm going to show you the Myro chart now in a couple of minutes, so you can see my Myro limit buy order picked up. So now my Myro long is actually $15,000. Now this Myro started at a 5,000 position, and we've been adding on all these major dips here. Now I've got the short cover. So if this thing starts falling over, the short's going to print. I can close that short. I can use that short to add to my Myro margin, and then I'd ideally buy more Myro to have a bigger size position. Now this concept or this theory only works if you have a bullish bias, okay? If the market is going to fall over and absolutely rinse me, okay, that's not going to work then. Okay, so I'm betting on the fact that Myro is going to bounce. I'm going to show you the target. I think it's around 95 is what I'm looking at. If it doesn't bounce at 95, that trade is obviously going to be under a ton of pressure. So let's get this one out here. And you can see the other one I'm in is a Rune long position. I've added a little bit to that one as well. And so Filecoin is closed, and now I've got Myro long and short running here on WEEX'S at the moment. So let's take a look at Myro, and you can see the situation. So this is Myro on the 8 hour. Now our second visit that we got to Myro in that zone was the short trigger for me. I just thought, let's hedge this thing and open that short. For me, if it popped that, then you add to the long and this thing can push. But because we kept banging into that resistance zone, that was an opportunity to pick up that head short. So now what am I doing with Myro? Anybody who's trading Myro with me, my next big zone is 0.093. Okay, 0.093. That is my next major zone. I'm prepping for Myro to come down to that area. Okay, I need to be mentally ready for that one. And that is where I'm looking for my Hail Mary Myro long. Okay, so that is why I'm building that position there. And we're going to have some limit orders waiting in that type of region there. By the time it pings that zone, obviously I'll be looking for a 30 or 40% bounce on Myro. So that is the bet I'm taking, 0.094. 0.094. Wouldn't be surprised if it dips there. 786 horizontal, 100-day moving average. There's a lot going on in that region there. And that is my next hot zone. So that would be a typical then pump and downtrend on one of these altcoins. Okay, that is typically what we like to look for. Let's see if that plays out. If we start closing under there, we're going to be under tons of pressure. Okay, that's why I've got that short running as well. And then I can also start funneling some of that margin or that short in there and see if we can build this thing. So ideally, the bias here is that if Bitcoin falls over, it doesn't kill the market. It doesn't drop to 70K. It doesn't flush the alts in one go, 30%, those types of things. I'm taking a more measured approach here, expecting a medium-sized pullback here on the market if it does. So that is the gamble I'm taking, and that is another 15% on that Myro to the potential or to the downside. So right now, Myro traders resistance 125, support right now 105, and then lower down adding on 0.094. Okay, so that is as simple as that, or as complicated as that. And then Filecoin traders, what an absolute banger. Ray, did you get this? Ray, tell me you got some file, bro. Tell me.
I got some of the scalp. I got it. I didn't get all the action.
Such a banger. Such a banger. Guys, did anyone in the chats get this file from Friday? I know I was on the new channel on Friday, so I know a lot of you guys didn't know where I was for the last 2 days. Don't forget that Crypto Live group channel. I'm doing one more appearance there tomorrow, Monday. And then you're going to see Run on that channel as well during the course of next week. And Kyle will also be there. So that is where I was. In case you guys were wondering where I was hiding, it's Crypto Live group. You can find us there. And okay, so Filecoin, just to close where we are, you can see we pumped pretty much into our rejection zone. So file traders, that is why I closed this thing. Big pump into a major horizontal. And now we are looking for new entries. So keep it very simple. What you can do on this higher time frame, just pull your fibs from the lows to the highs, and you want to identify a couple of hot zones and keeping it as simple as possible. File traders, 5 is going to be your support that you're watching. 5 is the one you want to watch. Look at that beautiful horizontal tie in there. So 5, look for 5 to be your next bounce zone if there is some kind of pullback. And I believe 8.4 comes, if the market stays bullish, 8.4 comes relatively quickly there on file. And then last one, guys, let's go Peppy. And again, this is an ETH meme play. I do believe when the market comes back properly, okay, this thing's going to have its time in the sun. So right now you can see I was on a short-term Peppy bounce in my trade that I showed you. You can see why. Look at this rising trend in play, and look at this, my MDX Wave Master also starting to turn a little bit bullish there. Potential short-term setup there on Peppy, and right now I'm just using the lows as my support. So where do I exit the Peppy trade? If I'm wrong, I'm going to close this thing under 1898. Okay, if I'm wrong, 1898, and what does that tell me? That tells me Peppy's turning bearish because it most likely loses trend, and then we start hunting much lower levels. So Peppy traders, 1898 is what I'm using as my current support for the leverage trade that I'm in. Okay, Dave, thanks for hanging. I'll see you in the live Sniper Club session in 15 minutes, give or take.
Yes, sir. I'll see you there.
Thank you, sir. Okay, guys, that's great. Catch me tomorrow, Crypto Live. That is the channel I'm going to be on tomorrow. Then Banter Plus, Tuesday to Friday. I'm back in business over there. So if you are missing me, I'll be there. Okay, guys, have a safe day trading today. Don't over leverage. Don't kill yourselves. You know the story. See you guys later.
I fucking finally got a good trade off the anchor.
Are you cooking?